Yeah, most definitely. One, I'm new to the industry, so when I came in, I was confused. Didn't know much about what was going on. My predecessor pretty much opened up the door for me to try and pay attention to everything that I do because my bosses were watching. Being new to the field, I was kind of apprehensive about the equipment. So I tried to take in as much training as possible. But since this is one of those industries where you never knew exactly what kind of equipment you was going to deal with next, I had to keep an open mind. Like I said, it was kind of scary only because when you're not sure what you're going to be dealing with, you didn't know exactly how you was going to be judged, especially when your bosses critiquing your every move. So if I had to describe my first day, I would just say it was scary. Well, let me give you a brief history of my background. I've worked for companies like Mitsubishi Electronics, Veritech Microwave, JDS Uniphase, Bell Atlantic, and I've spent a considerable amount of time in the military. So I would say with that much of my background, my biggest attribute coming to this company would be my ability to adapt to whatever situation I had. Now, my background is mostly technical, so with the many different types of equipment I had to deal with, I had to be able to follow instructions, especially from the manufacturer and my support team that I have at Dartronics. So I would say my ability to listen, follow the directions that's needed to get that job done, and try and be as efficient as quick as possible. My most hilarious service call I ever had was one for one of my customers in which they were explaining to me that their equipment wasn't getting power. It was an inkjet printer, and we tried to troubleshoot it over the telephone. Now, the guy that was giving me the information was an electrician, and he ran it down to me. Since I'm not an electrician, he knew more about how the electricity moved from the outlet to the unit than I did. The customer's about an hour and 15 minutes away from. So after traveling for that time frame, about an hour to get to him, it took about maybe 45 minutes to get my equipment out of the car, get geared up, and go down into this freezer. Well, long story short, it wound up being that the unit wasn't plugged in. So I actually finished that job. It took longer to do the paperwork. Let's do it that way. As I was getting ready to leave and how I saved his day, he actually begged me to come up with something else wrong outside of it not being plugged in. Now that one always comes to mind. It's probably one of the stories I give the new people when they come in. Especially it reminds me of when we went to school and the first question in our technical class would be, is it plugged in? Normally, when I come in, I open up my RMA system to see what my tasks are for that day. Now, I'm not limited to this site. Some of my tasks takes me to the customer site. Usual service calls keep us within, I always go by the time, about a 3-hour radius. I can wind up in Connecticut, I can wind up in Pennsylvania. I was gone as far as Maryland. I try and find out as much about the problem as I can prior to me initiating any form of service. That way I'm more prepared, especially when I leave this site. I am pretty much, it's task oriented. Once you go into the RMA system, it'll let me know what I need to do. I just adjust before I move out. It's not that I stay ahead of them. When new ideas and new people come into this company, they're bringing the innovation into this company. My tasks switch at that time. Now I can offer them some of my old solutions, but what I try and do is pretty much stay caught up with them. Now that is exactly how I keep up with it. I stay with them and they introduce those ideas to me. I figure out ways to integrate that into our service calls and the people that we deal with.